Yo, what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Sunday Rock 2000 today. Happy you guys are with me today on this Tuesday, February 25th. If my voice is a little scratchy, I am feeling a little under the weather, so I'll fix that right up. But trust me, for the majority of the podcast, it won't be a problem because, well, I'm recording this intro after the interview we did. Did I do another one? Yes, I did. So before we get into all that, let me start with the shameless plugs. So, of course, if we had any advertising for the podcast at this moment, this is where it would be. We don't, so I'm just going to plug my own My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 Day stuff. So follow My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 Day on all of our social media platforms like Facebook. Find out anytime anything gets released there. 30-second Song of the Day previews. Anytime a podcast episode comes out for the Chord Progression Podcast, any YouTube video that comes out, it'll be on there. Also, follow us on Twitter because you're gonna find the same stuff there, but you can talk to us a lot easier because it's Twitter. That's what the platform's built for. Follow us on Instagram. That is our biggest platform to date. You'll get the 30-second Song of the Day preview as well. You will also get anytime anything comes out, and you'll get the questions too, like pick a band. Like I think last week I did Asking Alexandria versus August Burns Red. That was fun. You'll get, on Mondays, like who has the best, what album is best. We'll ask you questions. We'll engage with you guys consistently. Our Instagram live streams always happen Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, and we always have a blast doing those. We are on our Ice 9 Kills thing where I'm wearing Ice 9 Kills merch every single live stream until some of the members of the band join the live stream. It'll happen one day. We'll figure out when. And then our Instagram, our IGTV videos. So our IGTV videos come out every single Tuesday, and that's like a behind-the-scenes thing, so you get to know where our mindset is. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. That's where you can watch the podcast episodes. We'll get a little bit more into that later. You can watch our YouTube album reviews, which you go deep dive into. We got a lot coming up. So I just did Amity Affliction. I've got The Word Alive coming up as well. We got Five Finger Death Punch, Silverstein, Code Orange in this moment. We got a lot coming up too. I think August Burns Red and the band Red are in there as well. And we got a dog barking. Let's see what else. The Chord Progression Podcast. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and you can watch the interview that we're about to do on YouTube as well. So jump over to YouTube channel for that one, or listen on any of those. I don't mind where, as long as you're listening. And also enable our Amazon Alexa skill, because that's you can hear the whole entire Song of the Day selection. And the Song of the Day selection is all based upon having you guys fall in love with the rock bands that you used to love. Fall in love with the new bands that you're gonna love within the rock and metal and all their subgenres. And it's a great way to, just discuss the music with people. That's what our platforms are for. And on Saturdays, you get to listen to smaller bands, the bands that have not made it nearly as big as they are gonna be because they haven't been around as long. But it's a great way to get in the know with the emerging artists of today. So links in the description for the podcast below in the YouTube video and in the podcast notes, so you guys can go check those out now. On to our featured presentation. Yeah. So, about a week and a half before I started doing this episode, I was online on Instagram, scouring the internet. Well, scouring Instagram to talk to people about one of my favorite bands, Ice 9 Kills. I mean, come on, can you blame me? And I stumbled upon a band that had posted something, and their drummer, his name is Blaze, was wearing the Oh the Horror GFM t-shirt that I actually have and I'm wearing right now on the podcast. And I comment, I'm like, oh yeah, I was talking about GFM. They respond, I'm like, there's a band. They're called Amongst the Giants. So I said, hey guys, love your stuff, because I listened to their latest album, or actually their first album called Obscene. That came out in 2018, and I loved it. I love the metalcore sound to it, and I'm like, I want to talk to these guys on the podcast. And guess who got them on the podcast? Kevin got them on the podcast. So get ready, because we talk full force with the guys. Well, two of the guys, actually, from Amongst the Giants. Strap yourselves in. This is a great one. You're going to want to listen to it. So everyone, let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have here a couple of the guys from the member Amongst the Giants. So, guys, why don't you guys introduce yourselves, tell us your names, who you are, what you do in the band, and just give the My Song of the Day, Rock Tales of the Day fans who listen to the Chord Progression podcast a howdy, hello, whatever you guys want to do.
Well, I'm Marco. I play guitar and I sing in the band. Brian, do you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm Brian. I am the lead vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Already awesome.
What up, y'all?
Unfortunately, we couldn't get your drummer on as well, but oh well, what are we going to do about it?
All good. We're here.
All good. I got you guys, and that is what I'm here for. So just so everyone listening knows, I was scouring the great Instagram trying to talk to people. I believe it was about Ice Nine Kills because I really like the band. I want to talk to people about it. And all of a sudden I saw a picture of you got your band. And the thing that struck me first was the fact that one of you guys, I think it might have been you, Marco, I'm not entirely sure, was wearing the exact same shirt I have on right now that I got from the girls at GFM.
I can tell you that was definitely Blaze. That wasn't me.
Oh, that was Blaze?
We look similar. That's why. Like I've gotten mistaken for him many times.
Okay.
Too many times.
Okay, well, I mean, I still remember seeing them like, oh man, I can't believe these guys like know this band as well. And I got the merch too. This is awesome.
They're friends of ours. We're located in the same state too. We're a little bit more south. They live in the north part of Florida, but we're
like
in South
Jacksonville-ish.
Yeah. They're cool. They're awesome. I remember I saw them a long time ago, and now they've been really killing it, So yeah, they're good friends of ours.
Yeah, because I think I've had them on the podcast actually twice now, and funny enough, because of it, they told me they were playing at Lifest here in Wisconsin, up in Oshkosh, like an hour away from me. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to see that show. However, I saw they posted like that they were going to do like a couple of shows like in March, and one of them is going to be at the end of the month in Green Bay. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell them, but I'm definitely showing up for that one.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we're on Lifest too. So
what day are you guys on?
We're on Friday and Saturday, I believe.
I'm pretty sure Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
we're on the same day as GFM. We're on the same day.
Okay, so
I think we're on the same stage actually.
Okay, because
we're on the same stage.
Because if you guys are on the same stage on the same day as GFM, because I'm going to be there for GFM, which means now I get to be there to see Amongst the Giants perform as well. Okay, this day just got so much better.
Yeah, man, we're stoked about that. Our first show was Lifest, actually. Our first show as a band in 2018.
Really?
I actually think they were on that show as well.
GFM, yes, they were. They were on that show. Well. We were on tour with them at that time. That's why.
No way. This is insane.
Yeah. I remember now. That was a great show. Lifest always shows up, man. There's always a lot of great bands that go, and then the people that come go nuts. Our first show, we had a pit. It was a blast. It was definitely one of our most fun shows. It was a great way to start.
Well, this year, because I'll be there. Now I got to make sure that I'm there for your show so I can start another great pit. And then, when GFM goes on, got to do the cupcake war with them as well because, that just sounds like a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
So with that, with you guys playing Lifest in 2018 as your first show ever as a band, I got to go back to the beginning with you guys because with you guys being from Florida, what was it like to basically say, okay, we want to be in a band, we want to start a band, and this is how we're going to do it. So what was the moment that both of you guys were like, okay, I want to do this, let's go for it?
So we've been playing in bands together for a long time. We grew up with each other and all that, and we've actually been playing music for probably 12 years maybe.
A long time.
A very long time
together.
So, with that, we just kind of wanted to take something and be like, hey, you know what? Let's really gun for this and gun for this style because we haven't really been able to go and express that kind of really something that was our baby. So we just kind of went for that and just said, let's go, let's take the bull by the horns and just go for it. If you want to,
we were we had been touring in other bands. I went on my first tour when I was 18. And Brian was playing drums in the band that we were playing for, and it was a Seventh Day Slumber tour. Who, they're really good friends of ours. And Jeremy Holderfield, who's their guitar player, he had been talking to me for a little while about recording our music and, producing us. So we were like, at one point, we're like, dude, let's just bite the bullet and save up our own money and do it. We saved up quite a chunk of change to get 4 songs done professionally well, which were the first 4 songs on our record. And we went to Jeremy with it and we did that. And then Joseph, Blaze's dad, is also vocalist for Seventh Day Slumber, is also our label manager. But at the time he listened to those first 4 songs when we finished it. And he was interested in it and he wanted to sign us. So that's kind of how it started. And we hadn't even played a show at that point. We didn't even have a full band, it was just me and him,
I mean, and the songs weren't even really ready yet. Like they weren't.
They were still in the comping phase. They weren't even mixed yet, so he was stoked on it. And he gave us that offer and thus began our journey as this band, as this unit. And we were able to start touring the year after. And we did Summer Rock Fest that year. First show of that tour was Lifest. So that's how it started for us. It was really exciting. It was crazy because I was like, how the heck is this going to happen? Because we didn't even have a full band. And then we got a full band and we did it. And I was super stoked about it. I was just happy that we were actually playing this music that we wrote because we hadn't been able to do that up to that point. We had always been playing other people's music, so.
Yeah, and kind of when you're talking about putting something together, not really having a full band yet, and basically getting signed to go do something and go play a show. It's like, okay, we don't even have a full band yet. That's very Foo Fighters-esque because again, like on their first album, I mean, their original, like everything on their debut was all Dave Grohl. So it's just,
of course,
and like no one knew about it. It's like, oh, it sounds like a full band. You guys sound like you put something together without even having a full band together. I mean, that's. You're in good company if all of a sudden people are just like, okay, we got to get these guys on tour. We got to get these guys' music out into the public, and not even full band yet.
It was a humbling experience for sure. It's not something we saw coming. We just knew that we spent money on these songs and we knew they were going to sound good. We had no idea how we were going to market it. We had no idea how we were going to do that. And then the 4-song EP turned into a 10-song full length, which is what we have in Obscene, which is what we have now, so.
Yeah, so another question I want to have for you guys is because when I was looking up your stuff, looking at you guys, it's looking at your labels as well, everything seemed to revolve around Christian metalcore. I think that's the best way to describe it. So what was the choice into going into metalcore, but also going into a more Christian-based sound?
We've always kind of like liked metalcore. Like, well, like is an understatement. Like we've grown up on it. I mean,
that's what
I grew up on Under Oath, and yeah. Like when I started getting into like heavy music, like I started listening to Under Oath and Emery and all of them like at like 13, and just kind of like went heavier and heavier from there.
That was my first Under Oath song when I was 9. Yeah. that was the first time I listened to Under Oath.
Nice.
In regards to the Christian in that is our lives. I grew up a Christian. My pop's a pastor. I play worship at church all the time. So does he. So does Brian. I think the thing is about the Christian sound. I don't know. What I think is like if a band has good music, and they're solid people. People are going to gravitate towards it, whether it's Christian or not. We've played in bars and we played in churches. I grew up going to local bar gigs. You know what I mean? I grew up with that. I still go to those shows, like it's more of us being true to ourselves because that's what we believe in. We write about it, not in all of our songs, but we do, but it is a part of us. So we're going to write about it, so as far as like seeking out a Christian sound or a Christian like label or anything, I don't think that's what we sought out. It's just kind of, it's more of like, that's just kind of who we are, and if people want to stamp the label, like, oh, Christian, this, whatever. I just want to be known as a band that cares about people and has good music, so.
Yeah.
Well, especially after listening to Obscene and really taking a look at the lyrics as well, I think a comparison to Under Oath is very, very on point, actually, given the fact that when looking at your stuff, I mean, a lot of it is, I can tell that there's a lot of Christian truth to it as well, but it's not, I would say blatant or just right there. It's much more metaphorical and lets people really discover what the message is in the music on their own.
And we're not afraid of being blatant either. If there's one song in particular called Ex Nihilo, if you read the lyrics, it's directly about God, 110%, and we're never gonna lie about it. It's not something we're trying to hide about ourselves. But the rest of the record, I have to say, a lot of it is about our past hurts, real experiences that we've had with people that we knew, and that was kind of the birth of it. It was just a lot of stuff that was really ugly and stuff. Like growing up in church, we didn't really get to talk about all too much, kind of kept in a bubble. I had great parents, and they've imparted so much wisdom over to me, but being in the, I always had the safety of the church. I always had the safety of the Christian circle. And when I left, I didn't leave the church, but when I went off to, college, and I experienced because I went to a Christian college, and so did he. We went to the same college. There was a lot of things we didn't like about it. There was just an attitude that was so prevalent. I'm not going to say everybody, because of course it wasn't everybody. You can't make blanket statements, but my experience at it, I got to say, it definitely tested the waters of my foundation, my faith, and my what I believe in more than any public school ever did. I've gone to public school my whole life. The only reason I went to this private school was to be with him, so we can keep writing music. So that was the only reason I went. And so I think some of the experiences on the record actually deal with our church experiences that were negative. But yeah, man, there's a whole spectrum of things that we like to write about. So if we want to be overt about our faith, we'll do it. But if we want to write about something else, we're going to do that too,
Yeah. I mean, most of our songs are just about our lives, just kind of our struggles, our hurts, our hang-ups, whatever. Like he was saying, because I think there's more truth in being raw and being honest than just trying to kind of paint this little picture of oh, we're in this perfect world, this perfect Christian world, whatever. It's not like that, Yeah. We understand that we're part of, we're in this world, just kind of getting through anyone else's,
Exactly. We don't, because being in that bubble and having that support system is a great thing, and we recognize it as a blessing, because we realize not everyone gets a support system like that or has a good set of parents. Not everyone has people who they can confide in. Not everyone has that. We recognize that as a blessing. But as far as us as people, we just want to be raw and kind of real with the things that we write. And like I said, our faith is absolutely a huge part of it. But if there's a song that there's one song in particular on the record, like you mentioned, Obscene is actually about pornography. That song is about addiction and pornography. And what's funny is now we're seeing all the issues with that now, because for the longest time the Christian church pushed so hard on pornography and and the whole purity movement. That was my generation growing up, and now what we're seeing is the effects of how easily pornography is accessible to everybody, and it is a psychological poison. It's a psychological minefield, and even the normal, the regular secular, whatever, call it whatever you want, psych world, therapy world is starting to realize that, because we're getting people with failed marriages because of this, who are getting divorced, and it's just how can something like this have such a toxic effect? That's what that song in particular is about, so.
Well,
just a little tidbit.
I was gonna say I definitely missed that on Obscene though, because I was looking at the lyrics and I think I just completely missed that. But I do understand what you're saying, especially about the when you're talking about pornography. One other thing I always listen to, it's been coming out every Monday now, is John Cooper of Skillet. He's always got a podcast like every single Monday.
It's great.
And like 2 of the last 3, he's talked about, he's mentioned pornography and his views on it as well. And when it comes down to, I like taking a look at what you guys saying, I totally can see that and understand that as well. And then Marco, when you're talking about, you know, going off to college at a Christian college, I grew up myself going to Catholic grade school, Catholic middle school, Catholic high school. So I grew up.
Yeah.
So I grew up in all of that, and I can totally understand where you're coming from. To where it really, like, at times it's because when I was in college, I went to public school at the University of Minnesota, and it was non-existent pretty much. However, when I was in high school, it was a complete 180 versus what college was, where it was everything about anything you did was all based in that. And when it came, it kind of ended up like, I think it ended up really stunting the, like, when it comes down to it, a lot of people that grew their faith, but a lot of people that also stunted it and ended up drawing it way back. And what I like about your music as well is you kind of like, you're showing that you guys went through that as well. We went through that, you know, I'm not, you know, maybe questioning it, maybe not sure exactly what you believe in fully because of it, but then eventually forming your own opinions and talking about those struggles of becoming the people who you are today and fully understanding the world around you.
Absolutely. You know, like at the end of the day, we all bleed the same blood. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all have, like, we're the same. We're one people, you know, like
there is no us versus them or anything like that. Like that's how I kind of feel sometimes, you know?
Exactly. In a Christian college, it definitely felt like that. There was always an us and them mentality. And it was just like, dude, I don't get it, man. Because them are some of my best friends in the world. You know what I mean? Growing up, you know, like I had, you know, just growing up, incredible friends who were not of the faith, you know, and it's just, at the end of the day, yes, we believe in this and we share it and we talk about it. But if we can't relate to the people that we're trying to share this faith with, it's not, there's no way they're even going to, like, you're not going to come across. It's not going to happen, you know. Like, so when we get on stage and we try to share some of what these songs are about, we hope people will be able to connect with it, you know, like emotionally, whatever it may be, you know, whatever the song means to you. Like, what we want is to just sort of like just have I don't know, man. We just want to connect, you know, we want to connect with the people and we want to make sure that we're genuine and that we let them know that that we care, you know, because we don't care about any specific agenda. Yes, we are Christian and we have our faith and that's how we live our lives, you know. But if you don't believe in that, there's still something to take from it, you know, like there's still something to take from these experiences, you know, just like some of my favorite bands who weren't Christian and I listen to them and it's almost like worship to me, you know what I mean? And it's like, holy cow, I pop in, you know, I pop in U2 or something like that and it feels like church, you know. It's insane. I think music is inadvertently blessed by God, you know, so.
I mean, most of my favorite bands aren't Christian. So it's like, you know, like you were saying
I
earlier.
think most of mine are. They just happen to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, another thing too is when you take a look at the bands like hard rock and metalcore bands that have those Christian roots or have had those Christian roots in the past, bands like Under Oath, bands like August Burns Red, bands like Devil Wears Prada, and even Skillet as well, where their music has become hasn't become, but it still is and always has been very relatable just in any scope of the world. I'm going to use Skillet. Exactly. I'm going to use Skillet as an example because their song "Not Gonna Die" is one of my favorite songs, just because it's basically kind of giving you the strength to get through anything you're going through that's trying to keep you down. It's like, we're not going to give up at this moment. And then also some of the other bands who like, I'm trying to think, I'm going to pull up Devil Wears Prada as well. Cause when I saw them live, it was just, it was an experience to see them live. It was nuts. Yeah. And then August Burns Red, I saw him at Summerfest here in Milwaukee last year. And they put on one of the most insane Summerfest shows I've ever seen, to the point where there are benches that line, like, that are in front of the stage, because it's like a big festival ground, so people like to sit and whatnot when they're not being at Summerfest. But because you're seeing a metalcore band, there's going to be people trying to mosh in a 4-foot wide section in the front. We kind of got tired of that and picked up the benches, tipped them up, and really started getting stuff going. The amount of security that needed to come over was nuts, but you see those songs, you see the people that really connect with them, and it's people from all walks of life, and everyone connects with it in such a different way.
Yeah,
exactly. Paul says to be all things to all men, so that we may save a few. So that's in the Bible. And it's funny you mentioned August Burns Red. I've seen August Burns Red, I think 13 times in my life.
Oh,
they're
my God.
Yeah, I've seen them a lot.
But I'm glad I brought them up.
They kill it, man. They're huge. They were huge for me. So much deep meaning for me found in their songs growing up in high school. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be playing the music I currently play. And with all these, the bands you mentioned, that was Prada, Under Oath, all those bands, started off like there was the whole faith thing was a very popular thing. It's not a bad thing, but at the time was a very popular thing to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's cool because they were all they always wrote songs that were really relatable to people, and it was a movement, man. That was a cultural movement. I remember it, man. Like, I remember clear as day growing up, going to local shows, and like kids just coming in droves to listen to this type of music, listening to metal music. And I want nothing more than to give back, you know what I mean? And do that in turn, because it inspired me so much, and Brian so much, that we started this, and we wanted to create something that was our own, but at the same time, pay homage to the bands that we loved so much,
Yeah, and that's one thing I really liked about your sound too, because as I was listening through the whole entire Obscene album, I just kept listening and thinking, and I just kept thinking of those bands too. I kept thinking of bands like August Burns, and I kept thinking of The Devil Wears Prada. Heck, at points even thought of GFM a couple of times. I'm like, wow, this is really something that I'm surprised not a lot of people have heard as much as bands like August Burns Red, because your debut album came out 2 years ago, and I listened and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Especially the song Too Late. I've been listening to that song on repeat the past week.
I gotta say, man, for a band, we are, even though it has been 2 years, we're still a baby band, there have been bands at it for a long time, and we've toured around and stuff, but our first release, we were the way it ended up and how it was received, and the people that we were able to play in front of, we were super stoked that was able to happen, because we had no idea how we were going to move forward, and then Rockfest, our label, came in and gave us a platform, and helped give us really, really helped us out in that aspect. And and Joseph really mentored us. Jeremy, they were always so encouraging, and it took us on tour, and it was great, and we're just happy at how things are going. We're happy with the fact, I think, across the board, Too Late's almost at 100,000 streams on Spotify.
Yeah,
it's
something, I think.
Yeah, and and I never would have thought that would happen. I'm being completely honest. If you asked me 2 years ago that would happen, I wouldn't have believed you. I'm being dead honest.
Yeah.
So one other question I got to ask about, especially with Obscene, when you dropped it in 2018, what was the reception initially like from the people that first listened to it, as well as with you guys working with that label, the bands that were a part of that label that you also toured with as well? What was their take on that album?
Ooh, that's a good question. The reception, we were super stoked on it because people seem to like the heaviness of it. Because I guess they weren't sure what to expect. What do you expect from a brand spanking new baby band? It's what are these guys going to sound like? And he was even more so when we went on tour, because we were playing with Spoken, GFM, and other bands, Seventh Day Slumber, Random Hero, bands that have been doing it for a long time. It's like, what are these cats going to sound like? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? And it was all good. Like, people were very encouraging of us. You know, they never looked down on us in the sense of like, oh, you guys are small, or you guys are, you know, just starting out. You know, like, we went in this and we really wanted to create something that of high quality, you know, and we really wanted to take the music seriously and the live show seriously, you know. So there was definitely a chip on our shoulder in the sense that we had a lot to prove, you know, and we still do. But as far as the overall reception, I was stoked on it. Brian, like, what do you know, like, I was stoked on it.
Yeah, I was stoked. I mean, like, you know, we've always had to kind of like fight our way through things, like, just to kind of like prove ourselves to people. Like, I mean, half the time, like, we're having to prove ourselves to ourselves, you know, like, even like during like the writing process, like, whenever like we had gone in to go record and all that stuff, like, I even before we'd even gone in and everything like that, I was like just ready to give up and just be like, you know, maybe the music business isn't for me, whatever. Like, I haven't really had a whole lot with it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we really like got encouragement to pursue that. Like, a lot of that encouragement came from Jeremy Holderfield, and he's like, no, just come up. We're going to write some banger hits and all that stuff. And it really just kind of like was a wake up call, because, I was able to prove to myself that I could do this, and prove to Marco, prove to Jeremy, prove to everyone that like that we can do this, and that we can hold our ground. And like, that's kind of like what our name comes from, like, Amongst the Giants, where we're really just kind of like holding our ground and standing up amongst all these other giant bands that we've either grown up listening to, or like have really had the opportunity to play with and all that stuff. Like, you know, we're not just coming in as like a new band that sounds good. We're coming in as like trying to be the top tier, trying to be like, and not like really trying to like force ourselves into anything. Just kind of like, no, we are who we are. We are this force to be reckoned with. We're not just some low level, like, first beginning band. Like, we wanted to show that, and we wanted to prove that on our first couple of tours. And I think we did pretty well with that. I mean,
there was learning. Yeah, there was definitely learning moments.
Yes.
There's definitely learning moments. There were definitely moments where we had to, you know, make adjustments, and there's still things that we're learning, you know, like,
for sure.
And there's still things that we're trying to, you know, like, but dude, like, we just played Germany in December, and that was really? We did Christmas Rock Night with O Sleeper, Wolves of the Gate, and Seventh Day Slumber, Zana, our label mates, Random Hero, a lot of bands that we're friends, you know, that we're friends with. Some of them are on our label. Death Therapy, all these bands that, you know, we think so highly of, you know. I grew up listening to O Sleeper, you know, like, it was awesome, and we did that, and that was an experience. And we're like, dude, how did this even happen? You know, I remember getting the call because I was on tour. We were on tour with Seventh Day Slumber. I was playing for my band and playing guitar for Seventh Day Slumber at the time. And we woke up, and Joe, our label manager, also the vocalist of Seventh Day Slumber, he's like, hey guys, check this out. And he reads aloud the mail from the email offering Christmas Rock Night to us in Germany. And we were so stoked, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, what is happening right now? I've never ever played abroad. And it was an experience, man. And more than anything, it was just like, I thought we played it was a fun show. Like, it was fun. They love metal over there, dude. Like, oh my gosh, they love metal in Europe. So
I saw some rowing. It was great.
Yeah, because we played 2 sets. It was awesome, man. It was a great experience. You know, we're saying that because we're grateful. You know, just because we were able to, because we recognize how much of a blessing it is to be able to play music. You know, in any capacity. You know, so we were just it was something that I would not have thought would have happened if you talked to me a couple of years ago. I'm being completely honest, because I was kind of where he was. I was almost ready to give up. I won't, so.
Yeah, true. Got a couple of things for that. One, when you're talking about, feeling like you're ready to give up, it's if you feel like you're ready to give up, but it's really what you're passionate about, which clearly when it comes to music, both you guys are incredibly passionate about what you do. Eventually that passion is going to override the feeling of doubt, and you're going to know if I've got something true that I'm always talking about, if I've got something that I'm always putting my whole being into, my whole entire heart into the music, and I'm being as genuine as possible while creating a sound that I want to create. Eventually what's going to happen is someone's going to come in along, someone's going to hear it, someone's going to pick it up, start listening to it and think, this is some really good stuff. And the next thing you know, you're playing for a bunch of metalheads in Germany because I know over in Europe they are crazy for that stuff. I'm going over there at some point in September to see a couple of shows with a couple of friends, and I know Germany's on the list, so we'll see if I get to a show around there. But I've seen some videos from there, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! I've got to get to one of these European shows.
What's happening over there now is what was happening in the States back in the mid to late 2000s with metalcore. That's what's happening there now. Yeah, dude. Like, it's like a cultural movement. It's awesome. It is awesome, and there's so much rich history of metal there too. So all the best music festivals in the world. Wacken
are in Germany.
Rock 'em Ring, Rock 'em Park. Those are the two that I always think of. I'm like, and I look at the lineups they always put together for those. I'm always looking like, well, I gotta get to these, but then I'm gonna be mad because I'm literally gonna end up missing so many bands. It's like, I want to see them. No, I want to see them. I want to see them.
Yeah.
And if I ever see Rise Against on there, it's like, well, now I'm staying for that whole entire show. I ain't leaving. So
yeah, man.
When you guys were over in Germany, what type of venues were you playing in there? And then I gotta ask about the crowd. How crazy did they go for your music?
Oh, they went nuts.
There's videos on our page. They went nuts for a few bands. For me, I was like, dude, I want them to have fun. Like, we did a Wall of Death. It was delayed, but it happened.
Yes.
And so we played 2 sets in Germany. It was a 2-day festival called Christmas Rock Night. It was the 40th anniversary. There's a side stage and a main stage. Every band played both. And both sets were awesome. Yeah. Both sets were awesome. In terms of how, the crowd having fun, man, dude, I had never seen kids have that much fun at a show like that. It was awesome. And it was kind of like the smaller one. The side stage was a smaller room, but it was a tiny room. It was still packed out, but it was still it was smaller, and everyone was kind of hugging each other, but it was fun. And then main stage was a bigger room, and that was a blast. They gave us a really good time. Thank you for them. It was fun. It was a blast. One of the highlights of my life, 100%. We even saw some people singing the words, which baffled me.
That had to be just one of the most incredible feelings ever, to know that there are people basically halfway around the world that have listened to your music, and while you're playing it live for them for the first time, they're singing along with you.
It's one of those things you don't believe until you see it, Yeah.
It was kind of crazy because our first show was the side stage show. Did we lose Marco?
Sorry, it's okay. It's okay. I'm coming back. Sorry.
He's here. Okay. But
okay, there we go.
So our first show was the side stage show that weekend. And I was kind of surprised because because the side stage shows and the main stage shows are generally going on at the same time. So I'm just kind of assuming, most people are going to the main stage shows and all that stuff, whatever. So the side stage will have a couple stragglers here and there, which we're cool with because we're playing main stage anyway. And then the intro starts and all that stuff. And we get on stage. We get on stage and the entire room's filled, and we're like, holy crap. I did not expect this.
Yeah.
No.
And they were rowdy. The entire time they were rowdy. They were jumping around, they were moshing, they were doing walls of death. We weren't even commanding some of the stuff they were doing. They were just doing it. there was at one point everyone started getting on the floor and they started rowing, like just because they felt like it. It was great.
We got it on video.
It was hilarious. Like I actually like I chuckled in the mic a little bit because I didn't expect to see that. Like I've seen it here and there, like I've seen people doing that and all that, but I didn't expect to see that at like our show. So to kind of see that, I chuckled, but I was also like really happy about it because like I guess we get the honor of people rowing to our music.
It was a blast, man. Experience, one of the best experiences of my life.
I definitely recommend Germany.
That whole entire thing when it comes to rowing, you can really use that as like a hallmark for your band. All of a sudden, it's just like with like a Day to Remember with their crowd surfing a crowd surfer, you guys can be all right, we're getting on the floor and start rowing.
Yeah, dude. We started a wall of death. I guess we weren't very clear on when they were to slam into each other.
Yeah.
So for our breakdown, they were kind of spread apart for a while, and we're like, man,
we're like literally.
It was hilarious.
Like we're thinking they're gonna go like as the breakdown starts, and they're just kind of still there. And we're like,
we should have given a more clear indication. That's our babiness showing.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a fantastic experience. 100% we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Say at that point, that's someone you just got to get ready for the breakdown. If you're calling for a wall of death right before you hit the breakdown, you just got to yell, go, and then just watch everyone slam into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I've done that. I did that for, I think that was the first time I saw Motionless in White. Chris called for it, and everyone literally just, it was like a scene like one of those like old, like ancient Rome epics where the battle scene where everyone's running into each other. It was, and of course I'm the one leading the charge right in front, just like, ah! I think I might end up on the floor on that one. I don't really remember, but then again, I might have gotten hit in the head a little too hard, so I don't really remember much anyway.
I've definitely gotten wrecked a few times in Walls of Death. Like in the past, for sure.
What was the best one you've ever experienced personally that you were like actually in, not, like watching or performing for, like that you were actually like in the wall of death and someone called for it, just you guys just went boom?
I know.
Let me see.
I'll give you mine.
All right, Marco, what's yours?
Color. So I went and saw a band called Between the Buried and Me. One of my favorite bands. It was their Colors tour.
Was it during White Wall?
Yeah. It was during White Walls. It was like we were just saying the words, and I remember like beating my chest super hard. Like I abused myself both on and off stage. Like I hit my head, like I like hit my head, I slammed my chest, and I hurt myself, but I don't care because it's fun. And I just remember like getting ready, and he didn't even tell us. We just did it, I was just kind of like, back everyone up, and we're looking at each other like eye to eye, like it's a big crowd. It was a place called the Culture Room in Fort Lauderdale, down where we live. And just getting ready. We all knew when the breakdown was going to hit. We all knew it. And that was probably the funnest wall of death I've ever had. It was a blast.
Well, half the time, like at least at a lot of the shows we go to, like half the time, like people don't even call for it. Like the crowd call for it.
Yeah.
At least in South Florida. South Florida has its own rules. South Florida has its own rules.
Yeah, because like the crowd just knows the music so well. So the crowd will like whether one or two people will just be like, all right, spread. And like just start it. Like I've started Walls of Death. I've been a part of like going on the outskirts of it and all that, whatever. I can't remember a particular time. Like I want to say I've done it for August Burns Red a couple times.
Their crowds always go hard.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, we tipped up the frickin' benches just to have more room. So
awesome. So awesome.
I want to say I've done it for Memphis Mayfire a couple times.
Nice.
I can't really like give a like when was the best time because there's been too many.
I'm trying to think. I think the two that stand out for me was A Day to Remember during Mr. Highway, because right before you get the disrespect your surroundings, it's everyone knows what to do at that point.
That's the perfect time.
Everyone just scream it. Everyone just went for it.
They don't need to be told, like they just know.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. And then the other one I think I remember was it was at Riot Fest this past year when I was seeing Rise Against, because I was literally in the middle of that crowd in the pit the whole entire time, just super hot, sweaty, and everyone was feeling like dehydrated. Yep. With 3 songs left, Tim comes out, plays Swing Life Away, and everyone's just happy because it's like, okay, we get a little bit of a break right before the end. Someone catches their breath. And he starts talking a little bit, reset, and people start like moving backwards, like, okay, we're starting a wall of death or something. Says we're gonna play Give It All, and everyone's already in position for this. I'm like, okay, this is gonna go incredibly well. And right when the first verse hits, everyone just slams into each other. The crowd is like converging on the mosh pit on the wall of death at the same time as well. And it was a chaotic mess that was one of the best moments from the 2019 at a concert. It was just, it was fantastic.
Man, I hope in some of these shows that we're going to be playing in the next few months, we get some of that action happening. Yeah, So.
I mean, you guys just have to. If you guys have to call for it, I mean, literally call for it, and because there's going to be places you're going to have to, but like places that know your music, especially in Florida. I mean, they're just going to know what to do at that point.
I hope so.
And if not, just. You guys still have the power to call for it too. So it's like, all right, everyone, spread out.
Yeah, for sure, dude. We're stoked. It's definitely an experience. We played a hometown show and it was pretty rowdy. We played at my middle school lunchroom cafeteria. That was insane.
Did you destroy your middle school lunchroom cafeteria? I'm really hoping you did.
People had fun. Kids definitely had fun. I slipped on the stage a few times because it was getting very sweaty.
I don't know if it's because of sweat. I think it's because Blaze kept spitting at me.
Oh yeah.
I have this thing where
Blaze kept spitting water at us.
Yeah, like right before Too Late, I do this Triple H spit.
Okay.
And Blaze likes to kind of make fun of that, and like whenever I go to go and drink some water or whatever, he'll take some and then just spit at me. Just not even miss it, just spit it at me. And it'll get all over the floor, and we were slipping all over the place.
Oh, he won't do where it just goes and then does all the whole entire Triple H and just comes out like Ugh.
Oh yeah.
See,
I know how to do that.
I mean, now that is awesome. I still remember back when I was what was it? That was when I was 10, maybe. Anytime my brother literally had a bottle of water next to him, he would do that every single time.
Yep.
And of course, it always made me back to the biggest.
It's
I'll do it sometimes too. It's fun.
It's fun.
Or when I'm playing soccer too, there's times I'll do it too. Just if someone's kind of if I'm taking a drink of water, if some of my teammates is pissing me off, just go. And I mean, usually it gets them all riled up. They end up playing better anyway. We're over it in the next 5 minutes, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But you guys are talking about tour dates in 2020, going on tour the next couple of months. So, where are you guys going? What is it looking like? Who are you gonna be with anybody? Are you the headliners? What's all going on there so that people who want to see you can go and see you?
We have a couple festival dates. We're trying to get some dates together for the summer. Probably just playing with we have a couple of ideas that haven't been released yet, but we do have a couple of festival dates. We have Chains Unchained and we have Lifest dialed in. We're doing it, and we're going to be playing actually several days on Lifest. I think we're playing 3
and
sets.
Chains Unchained, actually.
And Chains Unchained. Yeah, so it's going to be Chains Unchained. That's with Disciple. And that's and then Lifest is Lifest, so that's gonna be fun. We're stoked about that. Gonna try and get some dates around it and whatnot, so right now we've been writing a lot.
Yeah,
we are currently we've been writing quite a bit. Gonna be doing some of it next week up here with it's been we like the songs that are coming out. We're really stoked about it.
We've been doing a lot of writing, and I think that's one of the main focuses we've been doing this year is just kind of writing new stuff, releasing new stuff. We definitely want to tour and all that. And we're still trying to figure that out for the summer and figure it out for the rest of the year. But I think one of the main things we've been doing as a band has been writing and really trying to get some good singles out there so that way more people can hear them, because people have been demanding new music. So, anytime we post anything is is that for a new song? We're maybe.
That has been happening a lot. we've been writing with Kellen from Memphis Mayfire. He's been doing our we just wrote 2 songs with him, and we're going to be doing some more. So it's going to be fun.
It's a good call, especially because I know even talking with the girls at GFM as well, it seems like Memphis Mayfire is very well connected with a lot of the bands like in that Florida area, a lot of the bands that have some sort of have the Christian influence in them as well. Seems like they're really into helping them out and really focusing their attention
awesome
on
guys.
it.
They're just awesome guys.
Genuine people.
Yeah. They're just really, really good guys, it's, and they happen to be like one of my personal favorite bands, like I've been listening to them since I was 14, so like to, have that opportunity, to write with one of those members it's great. It's definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? A little surreal, but it's awesome because it's super cool. All of those guys are super cool, they're great. They're great. They're great people, and they put on a fantastic show.
I still have yet to see them live though. I can't remember the last time they came even around where I'm at, but because I know they came out with their last record in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Same day our record came out.
It was on the same day.
Yeah.
Same day.
Oh man, that's a great day then, because I still remember the first time I heard the old me from them, I literally looked at my phone. I'm like, did I just listen to that? Is that honestly a real thing? I had to listen again. I'm just like, okay, this might be the best song of the whole entire year. I went through all the albums, like as many as I could throughout 2018, and by the end of it, I'm like, can't help it. The Old Me by Memphis Mayfire, best song 2018. Yeah, I got the YouTube video out to prove it. It was like, dang, this is awesome. Absolutely loved it. So
yeah,
when it comes,
it was crazy because our record came out the same day as theirs, and POD and Set for the Falls. So
all those
there were like 4 records that came out the same day.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. And we went to go see Memphis Mayfire and Ice Nine Kills on that day in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Okay, that sounds like one of the best days ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a fun show.
You've got a lot
of... They play with Atreyu.
And they play with Atreyu as well?
Yeah.
Oh, my... Okay, that is just putting that all together, because you've got 4 bands releasing albums all at the same time on the same day, and then that day you guys go and see a show with Memphis Mayfire playing that also has Ice Nine Kills and Atreyu involved. And I'm trying to think, was that when had Ice Nine Kills released the Silver Scream at that point, or was that right before that happened?
It was right after they released it.
Right after.
Oh my God, that record is
it's a great record. The songs they played were Silver Scream.
That record might be one of my.
I just saw them again.
I say that record's got to be my second favorite record of all time. I still remember I saw them. I've only seen them once. It was this past year, and they played 19 songs. They played almost 2 hours. It was one of the most, I have to say, surreal concert experience ever, because I still remember just I was in the pit. I was like on the edge of the pit, I was in the front just watching at the same time. Like, I couldn't look away just because of just the horror themes, everything, the energy. It was one of the most bombastic, interesting. I don't even know how to describe it. It was insane.
Yeah. They're such a good band, Like, I've only gotten to see them that one time. I know Marco got to see them when they headlined, which is like, I think I was like out of town whenever like that came around. So, my dad went to go see them, and, I was kind of jealous because I wanted to see a full headline from Ice Nine Kills, because I didn't get to see that. It
is truly an insane experience, but I would be jealous of your dad too, and the fact that your dad went to go see them just is even crazier. I absolutely love it. Oh yeah,
he's gone to most of the concerts I've gone to. He's gone with me, like, not because he's trying to protect or whatever. Like, he's into that music, so like he's actually a big part of this band as well. Like he's effectively like kind of our band manager. Like, he helps us out with booking shows and stuff like that, and just trying to like get different things here and there, like, because he loves the music, he loves the genre, like he's one of the reasons I got into this genre in the first place, and we've kind of just like discovered bands together. So it's a pretty cool thing to have your dad involved with things that like you both love, you know what I mean?
Oh, totally understandable. I get that too, because with my dad grew up on like 70s and 80s rock, so he was always big into bands like, I think his favorite was Electric Light Orchestra. He loves Van Halen, loves ZZ Top. See, you think you saw Rush like 9 times or something like that over the course of their time. And it was like, that's the music that I grew up listening to, was the music that he listened to. Now the stuff that I listen to, my dad's just like, yeah, I don't want to listen to that, but at least the stuff you're listening to is a lot better than the stuff your brother is listening to. So we always have a good joke about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm still the one listening to, like, basically it's become mostly just for me. It's like a lot of punk rock and a lot of metalcore and a lot of me just like straining my neck constantly going like, yeah, just having a good time with it. I don't think I could ever take my dad to a concert because, oh God, he would hate it.
Dang.
The only thing I could get my brother to at a concert that would basically be like something we both enjoy would be like a ska concert, because you can't get enough of bands like Real Big Fish or Less Than Jake. They're just fun to listen to.
I love Real Big Fish.
Yeah. Less Than Jake was actually on Iceland Kill's record.
Yeah, they did the horns on It Is the End, and God, that was a great move to put them in there as well.
Yeah, it was.
So I kind of want to go back to the record that you got, or the music that you guys are writing. Are you writing, like, planning on doing a whole record, or is it just like a couple of singles or an EP? What are you guys thinking about there? If you guys can talk about it. If it's super duper secret confidential, we can keep it super duper secret.
We're working out the logistics still. Definitely a record. Like, we definitely want to put on a record. But how we're gonna do it, we're still figuring out. The main thing we're focused on doing right now is writing really, really good songs.
Yeah.
You know, we want to outdo ourselves in the last time. We want to create something better than what we did. We're happy with what we did on the last record, but we want to
advance, you know?
Yeah. We want to progress, you know, like we want to, you know, whether it's stylistically change a couple things up, whether it's, well, you know, this or that, you know, like we just want really good songs that kids and people are going to love, you know, and it'll be and fun, you know, and with words that, again, tie from our own experiences, you know, and stuff that we really care about and we feel like, you know, we need to talk about for ourselves, you know, so.
I mean, if you're writing songs that are very truthful to yourself and really show off that emotion, whether it's, you know, something that you're even the insecurities in life as well, because people really gravitate towards that, especially with music as well. I mean, take a look at all the music that we listen to, all the music that people listen to as well. One thing that always ends up bringing them back to them is they attach, you know, that emotion to it, because there's songs that I listen to. I still remember for a while, it was like a couple of months, I couldn't listen to my favorite song of all time because there was a girl that I met at the concert for Rise Against concert. Her I ended up dating for like a year, and it just after a year, like it just basically I kind of like destroyed my own self basically in my own head, and I refused to listen to it because I always connected myself with that memory. I'm like, wait a minute, this is always my favorite song of all time. Like I can't stop listening to it. So all of a sudden it's like I went to go see him live, and I kept listening to Savior over and over and over and over again. And now it's like, it's still my favorite song of all time. I took it back. But what I was kind of going off of that is when you're making music that's very personal to yourself, a lot of people are going to end up relating to those experiences that you're talking about in that music. A lot of people are going to end up feeling that and attaching a certain emotion to it. And then when they hear that song, they're going to really feel connected to it, connected to you guys as a band, and overall just, in a sense, feel better about their lives.
Absolutely, man.
For sure.
You know, absolutely. We just want to write things that, you know, people can relate to, and people, you know, can maybe just feel a little bit better, you know, like afterwards, you know, give some hope. You know, there's too much bleak in the world, you know, there's too much, there's too many negative things, you know, like even in music, you know, we want to create something that has a positive message, being honest and pulling on our personal experiences. But at the end of the day, that there's always going to be hope, always, you know, as cliche as that sounds, it's the truth, you know, and we're always going to hold to that.
And when it comes to hope, that's actually one thing I've seen very consistently in metalcore that's been coming out, like, especially around the last couple of years as well, where it's very focused on a lot of personal topics or a lot of things that people are very well connected to, and they're really gravitating towards that genre more. And as you're talking about, like within Germany as well and Europe, they're really starting to gravitate more towards it. And I think it's not only the sound, but the fact that it's becoming a lot more genuine than a lot of the other, more popular genres here in America today, where I'll use like, trying to think of a good example, like a couple of like those like pop country songs where it's just talking about, I'm sitting here drinking a beer, just kind of talking about that. It's like, they're sometimes they're good party tunes. I mean, I get why people listen to them, but when it comes to people really like getting deep and emotional and connected to the music, it's a lot more towards, the genres that aren't nearly as popular as like the real popular ones, like metalcore. Punk rock even has some of that as well. Seen metal have some of that. I've even seen some like blues bands or some bluegrass bands even, really pull people in, and people think, I'm really connected to this. And that's fantastic that people are connected to these songs that people are really speaking their truth about, and really, showing people, this is who we are. This is what we went through. And people are connecting to it because they've gone through very similar things. And you're giving words to people for experiences that don't have those words. And you're giving emotion just through sound.
Absolutely. Like, I think like, I think that like metalcore and punk rock and like that whole spectrum, because like you really can't be like, okay, no, it's only this genre, whatever. But like, metalcore, punk rock, and all that,
kind of like rock and metal and all their subgenres.
Yeah, there's a lot of subgenres that are just still kind of like in the same category. You know what I mean? I think a lot of that music, in general, has been the most like emotionally connective. Like as far as like with people, like there are songs that like from more popular genres that might have some emotional connection, whatever, like some people might connect, but like what I've seen throughout the years is like exactly what you said, where like metalcore and all that like have been more of like hey, I can connect with this, like I can connect with these issues and all that. It's not just, oh, my dog died, my truck, whatever, I'm drinking a beer here. It's more than that. It's like life experience. Like there are people talking about like, talking about suicide on their tracks and all that stuff, and really getting raw and real. And I think, and that's kind of like what we've done as well. Like just kind of trying to be real and trying to be like, no, this is what we go through. And I think like metalcore has always been a style that has pushed that kind of envelope of, hey, there's issues in the world. Let's talk about them.
And I'll bring up a couple examples from this past year, the bands kind of in these genres that really pulled that out and really were, went very emotional, very personal. Take a look at Sleeping with Sirens with their How It Feels to Be Lost album. I mean, Kellen Quinn just basically laid out the past 2 years of his life for everybody to just listen to and just understand what he all went through, just be with trying to get, basically get over what, like, just things that were going on in his life, beat alcoholism, and now look at where he is. As I lay dying to that as well, after whatever all happened with Tim Lambesis in 2013 and trying to change who he is as a person going forward. The song Another Life by Motionless in White, just how deep that song goes into with, I think Chris Motionless talked about how that was about like people in his life or that he has loved in the past, but because of what he's pursued and what he's gone after, especially in music, the relationships that he's lost, and basically like, maybe in another life it would have worked, but for now it didn't. And I'm sorry that it didn't work out. It's just, and I'll even pull up Kill Switch Engage as well. Like with one of my favorite songs from this past year was The Signal Fire, where they kind of go over just kind of, always being there for people when they need help. And like with Jesse Leach, when he left the band, here comes Howard Jones. When Howard Jones had to leave, Jesse comes right back in. And on that track, they're both on it. And it was, God, that was an awesome track.
That was a really good song.
I was constantly going off.
I love both the vocalists.
Yeah, I was happy to see, because I did see Kill Switch once, but that was like 5 years ago, and Jesse was there. And then when I saw Ice Nine Kills this past year, Howard Jones and Light the Torch were one of the openers. So I'm like, okay, I can see Howard Jones actually perform. This is going to be great. And it was. Yeah. So when it comes to the new record, when it comes to the writing style that you guys are really going with on this one, I'm not saying like it's not like what your guys are going with, but what's the process like for when Amongst the Giants is trying to come up with new music?
So it's funny because like we don't really have a set process at all. Like half the time it's like sometimes we start with lyrics, sometimes we start with a guitar riff, sometimes we start with drums, sometimes we start with like whatever. Like we don't really have much of a process. A lot of it is just like we try to come together and write stuff. Sometimes we write stuff separately and then show each other and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And then send each other ideas and all that.
Yep, there's not really one process, like one specific one. You know, we come up with ideas individually, and then we kind of come together and figure out like what we want to do with the song. You know, and work with the producer. In these cases, Kellen. You know, to make it better. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea where you're going off of that. You don't have a set process because when it comes to music, it's got to be inspired. It's like when you're like a lot of these great tracks. I mean, every single great track, there was some moment of inspiration that where whoever was writing them just said, "That's it," and started writing. I mean, I'm trying to think of a couple of examples as well. One of the bands that when I was going through a lot of depression that helped me out of it was, especially listening to like their older stuff, was 30 Seconds to Mars, and really going into like how Jared Leto wrote Kings and Queens. He literally wrote it on a plane trip from like LA to South Africa or the other way around. I don't really remember, but just like you get inspired and you just write it. Or take a look at a band like Alter Bridge as well, where I think it was this past album, Miles Kennedy and Mark Tremonti, instead of just coming with full ideas for songs, and just like, okay, here's the song idea, and then having each of the other guy like just tweak it. They both came with ideas and then collaborated together on it to make Walk the Sky. So it's always different to see how bands create their music, but it always comes from some moment of inspiration. It seems like what you guys do is you just wait for that inspiration to basically strike.
Whether you're together. Writing. Like we're always having ideas, you know, but like when it's time to like you know, grind is when we know, you know, like there's a difference between writing like kind of throughout, you know, and then like it's crunch time, like we got to get these songs done, you know, like.
Yeah, but the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to end up being in a position where you're getting to the point where it's like, okay, we've got like 5 songs done, it's crunch time, we got to get 6 more to go. You don't. Yeah, you don't want to end up having like that timetable to be forced to put something out, then all of a sudden you're not putting something out that you're entirely happy with. You want to make sure that every track that you write is a track that you put your whole entire heart and soul into.
Of course. absolutely.
And I hope to God that when the new album comes out, that I listen to it, and then looking at what you guys came out in 2018, I hope to God that I look at it, I'm like, you know what, like they really, really pulled it in. They really took the time to make it, and all of a sudden here it comes. And I'm not gonna say like it tapes Obscene and just completely like blows out of the water, because Obscene is great. I absolutely love the record.
Thank you.
But I want to see it be like kind of like the I'll use Ice Nine Kills as an example, kind of like going from Every Trick in the Book, because Every Trick in the Book I loved, to Silver Scream. I want to see that kind of transition where it's like you take what you guys do, build on it, and all of a sudden you create something that's even greater. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, how do we even top that? Just constantly trying to make the music that you love, make music that inspires you, and really come and be, write something that's raw, emotional, and very personal to yourself, to really put it all out there and just create something that, there's all of a sudden, the bands that you're saying, like with being Amongst the Giants, those bands end up listening and saying, that's one of my favorite records of all time.
Yeah, man. Keep an eye out for it, because we're definitely gonna be working on it. We're gonna keep posting about it, posting little snippets and whatnot. So yeah, keep an eye out. We got some stuff planned, and it's gonna be a blast. We're very excited about it.
We're stoked.
Well, guys, I am stoked as well, because since just stumbling upon it, I think, what was it, like maybe like a week and a half ago, I stumbled upon your guys' stuff, and I started listening, just like, yeah, we got to get these guys on the podcast stat.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you.
Well, that's one thing I've been trying to do is because that's one thing I've been wanting to do is even like, I think your name Amongst the Giants is perfect for one thing I'm trying to do with the Chord Progression podcast is because I started out like I've got bands like Kingdom Collapse. I had bands like GFM. I had bands like Zume just on. I've got you guys. I've got another band set ready to go. I've got a band from a new metalcore band that just dropped their debut album from Italy that it looks like I'm going to have on here as well. And one thing I want to do is you know, everyone knows those big bands. Everyone knows Killswitch Engage. Everyone knows August Burns Red. But when it comes down to it, it's like they're going to be around, but who's going to be those next bands to really take those spots and like just be like, you know, when you're looking at the tour posters or you're looking at those festival posters, who's going to be on there that goes from the bottom rung to the top? And it's
Absolutely.
like, I'm like, I want to, you know, talk to these bands. I want to help them get from there up there, get their music out to more ears.
We just want to play and survive, man. We just want to play, and whoever will hear it, hopefully speak into some lives, meet new people, have incredible experiences, talk about God, talk about all these things that we love to talk about, you know. And I don't know, we don't know what the future looks like, but we want to keep doing this as long as we're able to do it.
Hopefully one thing I see in the future is all of a sudden there'll be like a Memphis May Fire tour coming through to Milwaukee, and who's opening? Amongst the Giants. That'd be a show where I'm just gonna end up like, okay, I'm gonna be there. Literally gonna like rest up for a day, be like, okay, I'm ready for this pit. Let's go.
It's gonna be man.
That would be amazing.
That would be incredible.
I mean, you guys got a little bit of an in with working with Kellen, so you never know. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
you never know, man. Oh, you never know.
Never know. Well, on that note, guys, we've gone for about a little bit over an hour, I think. So at this point, I've absolutely loved talking to you guys, and I will send you on your way to keep making great music. And
thanks, man.
Look, I know you're in Nashville right now, so have you been driving all day to get there?
So I drove. I drove about 8 hours yesterday. Stopped, slept, drove the rest this morning, and I got in a few hours ago. So yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll let you go and get some sleep because all that driving, I know it can take a lot out of there. I've done. In college, I did a trip from Minneapolis, Minnesota, down to PCB, and we didn't stop. That was long.
Yeah, dude.
So I get the long travel. So let you go get some rest and. Well, we'll make sure that your music gets in the ears of our listeners. So I know I was taking a look at like my Song of the Day features, taking a look at everything. I know I've got you guys scheduled for a feature at some point in March. And yes, I went with Too Late because I've been listening to that song a lot lately, and I am not going to stop.
Man.
So
thank you.
We'll get you guys even more exposure with our audience as well. So
thanks so much.
Thank you so much,
Marco. Thanks for being on the podcast. And I'm trying to think. Next time I'll see you, we'll be in person at Lifest.
I hope so. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
I already got my ticket because the girls from GFM would not let me live that down if I didn't show up when I said I was. So I've had my ticket since December for that Friday. I'm ready to go. So we got the day off from my full-time job, so we're set.
Nice.
Awesome, dude. That's awesome, dude. I'm stoked to see you.
It's gonna be awesome. You'll probably see the exact same T-shirt and hat combo. I don't know. So it won't be too hard to find me. So, all right, Brian, Marco, thanks for being on the podcast, guys. Absolutely loved it. Rock on, and can't wait to see you guys live.
Peace out, man.
All right, peace out. Well, guys, I hope you absolutely enjoyed what a thrilling time I had talking with both Brian and Marco of Amongst the Giants, because guys, I gotta tell you, I had an absolute blast talking to those guys. I thought I was just gonna be able to talk to Brian, but man, all of a sudden Marco jumped on the podcast and I was like, yes, I get more. And I'm so glad I brought up Lifest to them as well, because another dog noise, but I get to talk to them and see them at Lifest in July. So if you get a chance to see Amongst the Giants going forward, I suggest you do what I'm gonna do, and definitely go and see them. We will be talking to them at Lifest as well, and I can't wait to talk to them again on the podcast. hopefully later on in the year, maybe towards the end of the year, so we can see how 2020 ended up for Amongst the Giants, see where they're at, and how 2021 is going to shape up. We'll do the same thing with Zume. We'll do the same thing with GFM and Kingdom Collapse. I'll try and do something where we can talk with each of them and maybe do like a super duper long podcast. No, we won't do a super duper long podcast. What if I did one that was like, broken out, like one every single day with some of these bands, and we could talk about, what they're coming up with in 2020. Now that would be a project. I need some help on that one, guys. But until then, I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Sunday Rock 2000 to today. Absolutely amazed that we're getting some of these bands on here and that we're getting you guys to know some of the up-and-coming bands that will be the biggest bands in the 2020. So until next time, folks, this is Kevin from the My Sunday Rock 2000 today. Well, Chord Progression Podcast. I hope I didn't blow out anyone's, eardrums on that one. But you guys know how I end these podcasts with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya.